just going to go with her, and I thought you were crazy because you sat up here and you told us that you love debating people about creation versus evolution, and I laughed to myself because I thought it was a good one. So up until now, I've had a good life. I've gotten where I am just by doing good things and being in the Scouts and joining the fire company, and just I got where I am by, or at least I thought I got where I am by being who I was. So I believed in God. I really didn't give it much more thought than that. But I really just didn't give it much more thought than that, because in school all they teach is evolution. High school, it's evolution. I won't even talk about God. College, evolution. This is how it is. We all came from slime. I was just coming here to go with Julie and be nice, and I liked it. It was a little inconvenient because it seems like I always had better things to do on Sundays. And I liked it, but I definitely thought you were all crazy. So, this Christmas, my friend Josh back there that I hung with, he works for a guy down the street. And the guy down the street gave him a Camel Bible. I thought it was cool, but we both were like, why did he give you a Bible for Christmas? And we just thought it was a little weird. So he accidentally left it at my house and left it on the coffee table. And I started checking it out, and it just kind of looks cool. I thought it was cool because he could read it when we're out hunting or fishing or whatever. But he forgot it there. Obviously, it wasn't by chance, because now look at it. So I started checking it out and asking Julie about different stuff that she liked in it. And she told me to read James and stuff like that. And I started checking it out. But basically, I said to myself, I'm not just going to pick this thing up and say, okay, I believe it now. Because none of anything that you said up here makes any difference if this isn't true. So I started doing some research on evolution and the Bible and stuff. And on evolution, the thing that I can't get over is how come horses still come from horses, people still come from people, monkeys still come from monkeys. It should be a lot more people that look like monkeys if we all did. We all came from evolution. And like I said, I just have a hard time believing that we all came from slime. The argument that all this can just happen by mistake or accident or by chance is crazy to me. That video camera, you can take it and put all its pieces in a box and shake it for 2,000 years and it's never going to come together like it just did. A greater mind put that camera together. It just didn't create itself by accident. And that's the thing I couldn't get over, just looking around and looking how everything works so perfectly together. Some people think it's messed up, but everything meshes together. The seasons, everything. So then I was like, how is this even true? That is stuff that you can look around and say, okay, yeah, I see how the trees work and all the processes and, like I said, the seasons, but who cares? This is what I want to know if it's true or not. Well, basically, in the history of history books, there's never been as much supporting evidence as there is for this book. And the more scientists and stuff that have tried to prove it wrong end up being Christians. That's really weird to me. So anyway, I started reading it and believing it because it's all on paper. If you want to see what is in this, you can go, I guess, I don't know how you can do it, but the documents are still around. Over 20,000 and 25,000 manuscripts. You can still get them. So I started checking it out. And Dale, the guy that gave Josh the Bible, said, there's a 6 a.m. Bible study on Wednesday mornings. Like 6 a.m., like, you guys know I can't get up. I have an argument with myself for half an hour before I can get out of bed. But anyway, I went to this first one. I went and checked it out. There's about 30 people there, all guys from different churches. They're all from around town and stuff. This one guy at the end of the table that stood out, his voice was just like captivating. He didn't talk a lot, but he said a few words enough to where I wanted to go talk to him at the end. and his name was Pastor Carpenter. He's a pastor of the church down the street from our house. And the first thing he said was, "Do you know Jesus?" And I said, "No." He said, "Do you want to?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want her now?" I said, "No." So he started off like that, and then he started explaining about why Jesus died for us and how the whole thing works together. And I said, "Well, I really don't think I've done anything that bad where I can't go to heaven. I really haven't done anything that bad. Stuff I'm not proud of, but still, it wasn't that bad." And he said, "An apple tree doesn't have to have apples to be an apple tree." That's the kind of example that I like. I can understand that. So after a few weeks of going to that, we decided to go to his church and just check it out. And then I noticed in the little bulletin that it said they had a Bible study on Tuesday nights. I decided to go to that. So I just showed up unannounced at 6 o'clock on Tuesday night, and there's nothing there, it's empty. I was like, okay, they must have canceled it. Well, then I see the headlights coming from his house down the road, and I go, here we go, it's just going to be me. They only wanted this thing. So he shows up and he says they canceled it, but if I wanted to come in and have coffee, because he loves coffee, that we could have coffee and talk. And I learned that he's an old farmer from Vermont. That's why I like the way he talked, because he used examples that I can understand, and nothing fancy, he was just straight out front with me. So we talked for an hour and a half, just about nothing to do with the Bible, but just an hour and a half just talking and learning about each other. And then he asked me again, and I knew it was coming. He said, "So you say you know Jesus, you say you want to know Jesus. Do you want to know him now?" And I sat there for a second, I was like, I guess. I do. I said I do. But I really didn't realize what that meant. So he prayed with me. We did what's called the sinner's prayer, which I didn't know what it meant at the time. But I accepted Jesus into my heart. You can say whatever it is, it's born again, whatever, accepted into my heart, whatever you want to call it. But basically, I'm living in his way and following him. I have a personal relationship now, and it was my decision to follow him. So when I came home, I said to Julie that I did the sinner's prayer, and she about jumped out of her seat. And I really didn't know why she got so excited about it, but she was excited and started calling everybody. I still do not understand why, but it was not long after that I did understand why, because it started a change in me, like, that I did not expect. I started driving better, not following people so close, not cutting people off. I drive all day for work, and that's a problem of mine. It was a problem of mine. I started using better language. Not that I use bad language around a lot of people, but when you get around friends or customers, you start dropping F-bombs like crazy. I look at other people differently now. I look at everybody now has values just as I do, and why am I better than him and I'm not. I stopped getting frustrated when I do little projects and it won't work, and I used to throw it or get mad at it or kick it or something. I don't know, I just get mad really easy. But I pretty much stopped doing that. And I realized that everything that happens is basically part of a bigger plan. And there's no way for me to know the plan, but I just at least know and trust that it is part of the plan. Like the whole story of why Josh got this Bible and how it affected my life, when it wasn't even given to me, it was given to Josh, and he happened to leave it. That was not an accident. And back in October, when Julie was supposed to have twins and didn't get to have them, people can say, yeah, that's just because, you're just doing this just because of her twins or whatever. But it's not because of that. It's sad, but I didn't have the same relationship that she had with him. But it's sad, but that's not the reason this happened to me. But even she believes that if that hadn't happened, and we have 2 babies right now, that this might not have happened to me. Because the last thing I need is another hobby. I have a different hobby every month. You can ask my family, it's a different hobby every month. But the one thing that you're not going to see is you're not going to see this hobby go away. 5 years, 10 years down the road, this is my life now. Now I look forward to Sundays. I look forward to reading this, which is weird. I want to talk more about it, I want to talk to everybody about it, but I realize that I'm really dangerous right now because it's so new to me. But I definitely want to learn more. And the things that I like learning about is little different facts about things that happen in the world. Like one that I really like is basically a case against evolution is that horses don't have a heart big enough to pump the amount of blood they need when they run and gallop. And if they did have a heart big enough, when they stopped running, their heart would explode. That's the problem. So they have these little pads in their feet called frogs, which I didn't know. And when they run, those pads pump blood up their legs. And you're going to tell me that's an accident. That's not an accident. You know, a couple of the other things I want to do is I want to raise my family with God. I don't want to be pushy with kids when they come soon. They're coming. I don't want to be pushy, but I just want to be a good example. My grandmother gave me a shirt once that had a picture of me and my tractors and stuff and said trendsetter on the bottom. Because it seems like whatever hobby I do get into, the rest of the family seems to get into it. I got a cow. Next year there's 5 cows in the family. Next year everybody's got a farm with cows. I got a 4-wheeler. Next year everybody's got a 4-wheeler. I got the tractor to do tractor pulling. The next year the whole family's got tractors and we're doing tractor pulls. So I don't know if that's going to happen here. I hope it does, obviously, but I don't want to be pushy about it. But this is definitely not as inconvenient as you think, being here. So, even though I thought it was funny that you like to debate people on evolution, now I'm the one that wants to debate people on evolution, so that's it.